Daily trading recap. Let's get after it today on this Friday, the 25th of February, 2022. Strategy working out again, as it has always been for this entire week and for what I've been looking at for these past few weeks that I've been pushing this harder. So really, really liking how this strategy is shaping out to be and what it is in essence. And did no other real trading. Traded a little one MES contract, getting a little directional there, but certainly fine with that, especially when it's a winner. But certainly fine with that because it is an MES, because it's one, and because it's a one and done. If I'm trying to go play that same game with an ES and multiple times over and over again, like I saw yesterday, it just turns into terrible, horrific things. So got away from doing that, but I'll get into that a little bit more after we mention some market internals. Dollar volume on the day. NASDAQ, $263 billion volume as of hour 36 minutes after the close. NYSE, $395 billion volume on the day. OTC is $2.2 billion volume on the day, just for reference for me. No other real equity or listed tickers that I was interested in or setups that I wanted to be a part of today. Again, just hot sectors of oil and everything else that is moving, just keeping my eyes on it and continuing to keep my eyes on the millionaire chart as well, the chat, to see what everybody else is doing, just to keep my ear to the grindstone in that regard. But definitely liking this spread strategy coming into today. Fridays are always going to be the most volatile. For some reason, it's the end of the week. Options are expiring, but that first 15 minutes out of the gate is always tends to be with higher probability that they will be nicely, fluffy, volatilely out of the gate there. So going after that with my little spread trade there, the plan was to take a layered spread trade approach of looking for, it's been 100% probability in the past, like 50 days at least. The FAST 50, so that'd be the past 10 Fridays. That would be that we've seen at least 4 points above the open and 4 points below the open in futures contracts pricing within the first 15 minutes of market open. So playing off of that fact and then throwing another 10 MES and 1 ES respectively, whichever way I was going, long or short, looking for a 5 points above the open and 5 points below the close. NinjaTrader did not allow me to establish my short position. For whatever reason, I was getting 20 MES going long, looking to take off the first 10 at 4 points above and the next 10 at 5 points above the open price. But as I'm establishing my position just right before, seconds before market open, it's giving me a warning. Oh, you do not have enough margin to be able to take that position, blah, 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 whatever. And I was doing all the math calculations beforehand and going, wait, whoa, what was going on here? So I still have to follow up with NinjaTrader on that. I have plenty of margin to be able to cover. That should be 20 times 5 or 20 times 50 should be 1,000 needed for the margin, and take that 20 MES contract size, if I'm not mistaken. And then to take 2 ES contracts, that's another 1,000 with 500 with each of those contracts for margin. I've got plenty well beyond that 2,000 mark to take that position. So I'm wondering if it was calculating how much I was down already within this first candle on those long MES contracts, that it just didn't want me to take any amount of size, which I don't think is correct. The thought that came to my head was, yeah, you've taken some pretty big losses this week and the past week, so we're just going to kind of limit on what you can do. That was the thought that's running through my head, which I wouldn't doubt them for the amount of risk that I was trying to stupidly throw on there. But this is certainly aggravating of the, $500, $600 that they cost me of taking it perfectly within that first 2 minutes that it would have pulled to fill both of those short contracts to the downside there. But sure enough, it did perfectly bounce right away within third to fourth, fifth minute. And even going into that 10 o'clock hour, it certainly had a very widespread and fluffy opportunity to be a part of if we had got in around that open price. So plenty more room to expand upon. And this type of strategy, as I look forward into the future on days where we don't have this much volatility and opportunity, especially with the current world news that's going on right now, it's times like this where it's just, okay, yeah, 4 or 5 points. This is an awesome P&L trade to come away with, but it's almost like when these opportunities aren't there, it's like the 2 points above and below and the 1 point above and below are really all I can, with high probability, predict. So it's just unfortunate that there's not going to be days like this where I could capitalize, relating to what we could have gotten in max if we nailed it perfectly. For instance, on that future side, taking it from 930 here, 4,300, we'll call it, just nailing a max here of 13, 14 points that it could have taken to the high side and to the downside if we're waiting until 10 o'clock, another 18 points, that is 16, 17, 18 points to the downside, or taking that both ways. What's that? 28. I can't even do math. But expanding my horizons with that. And of course, I'm not going to nail them perfectly, and I can't try to assume that going into today, or that is just as about as probable of a chance of predicting the correct percentage or the point move above and below as trying to pick the correct direction immediately from the open. It's just a losing game, and that's why I'm doing this trade in the first place, is to not have to pick the direction and profit off of the truth that it's just going to go kind of crazy, haywire, do whatever it wants to do in that first 15 minutes, first 30 minutes of market open as well on this Friday. So absolutely loving that spread trade so far. I'm going to continue to pound more data into it and push it harder as long as this volatility is there on the specific key days that we do feel that opportunity is there, and keeping mindful of the days like was this Wednesday, I believe? Yeah. Days like this Wednesday of keeping ourselves slim and proper, that, some days don't offer a huge opportunity or volatility within that first 15 minutes, but there's should always be some amount of little scalpiness we can take within that. So just being mindful of that. And even yesterday, I too think was a little bit of the same. Yeah, that same thing. That first minute was the low of the day. So watching, just being mindful of not trying to be crazy or take more than what the market is willing to give. So I think it's on the days like, looking forward to the future with this specific strategy, on these trend days like this, where that first minute candle is going to be the low or the high of the day, that keeping mindful of, it's not always going to even produce 2 points to the downside from this open here within this candle. It may be even 10 cents, 5 cents in respective on this SPY scale. And what does that equate to on the ES future side? Maybe half a point, maybe a 3/4 of a point, 3 ticks. So then, having to scale down that way, and okay, that's a strategy. Do I really want to keep pursuing that? I mean, it's kind of, I don't want to say free money, but that's the strategy that we've been pushing. But adjusting to the ebb and flow of the market of what is being offered. Certainly times like these are the times we have to push it harder and harder. And it's, it's great for me to say, I'm going to take, what I took today, 18 points, repeatably and consistently, and without really huge risk concerns, but with a high probability effect conviction coming into today of that happening, of that 18 points being able to be secured. Without any worry of emotion or me trying to guess tops or predict areas, but just kind of pressing it and letting it do what it wants to do. But on days like this there was certainly a lot more there left on the table. So how can we push ourselves even harder without making this a losing trade and just being too greedy, I guess, in a sense, with that trade? So yeah, just unfortunate with NinjaTrader why I did not get filled, or why it would not let me with the margin inadequacy to be able to take that short position to get nailed perfectly within that first 2 minutes. Yeah, shoot them an email but see what they said, but trade worked beautifully, so I can't argue anything there. I did, after I was beautifully gotten out within that 4 or 5 minutes of that spread trade, I did feel the urge once again come over me, like just the thought of, oh, well, you can get like another ES contract here. You can get that $400 back, or that $500 if you nail a nice little move here. And I said, oh, okay, hold on. Didn't we just come through this yesterday? Let's hold ourselves back a little bit. So I was very able to just about immediately close this NinjaTrader brokerage. I did take a 1 MES contract short after this little second double top-ish rejection here. I'm going to take it for a nice little 5 points, 20 points I think I had, or maybe 10 points. Yeah, 10 points because I took $50 on that MES contract in this little fall off here, which was good to see. I think Qs were breaking to a new low as well, so using that as the basis, the substance for the trade, which I also failed to do yesterday. Just no substance-based trades at all, just blindly, randomly, like, oh, I think it's going to go up. Oh, crap, I just lost $600. Stupid trades like that. Certainly making progress just within myself, personality-wise, as a trader, but also with this spread strategy. I am very excited about it. I also wanted to mention, I was reminded from, because, and I think I was a little bit tempted with this after nailing the strategy again, that it was just, the feeling was, man, that was boring. I need more excitement. I think that's what originated that thought of, okay, well, you can get that back, that profit that NinjaTrader stopped you out of getting. And I think that's just that little hint of, well, you need, in order to make money, from how I originally have been trying to do this, of it needs to be pressure filled in order to be getting money, or else you're doing it wrong. That's just kind of how it always was, versus this style of trading that's, no, this is how you can also make money too. But I remembered, I think somebody either commented on an SMB video, or just, I think they might have said it in the video actually too, that the best trades are the boring trades. And those are the ones that, with repeatability and consistency, can continue to push you to be a successful trader in the long run. So keeping that in the back of my mind too, that this is just a very boring, basic trade with defined parameters, and it is what it is. It's not just a nailing lottery day every single day. It is what it is, and that's what it is. I also wrote in my journal here, I just wanted to mention quickly just this weird little concentrated selling that I did see right in this morning session, just for reference for me. Just I wanted to point out of 1022 here as it's pushing into new highs, hard selling rejection, big volume candle on the ES, and I think SPY as well. And then like 11 o'clock here, tries to go for new highs and then sells off very hard with big volume, but recovers and produces a new high on both of these attempts. So just interesting to see that. And then looking at the tick at that same time when those were happening, at these two candles here, at 1022, yeah, it's pushing to new lows kind of randomly, breaking the 0 mark there, and then this 11 o'clock move coming close to that negative 600 mark for companies that are, or tickers on the NYSE that are printing in the red at that current minute. But just interesting to note, to see that of how and why those selling pressures did come in. Yeah, these respective candles here too. Just weird why those happened, but then they got bought up so quickly and produced new highs directly after that hard selling. Just interesting to see on that. It was just not going to go red today. Certainly, I think they tried to produce the top, but overall the market said, no, we're not putting in new lows today. We're not going lower. We are going higher. So that was the full trend sentiment on that one today for this 2.2% day in the green for SPY. Absolute insanity from where we dropped off. Two full-bodied green candles. Crazy to see. That is all I had. I sincerely thank you guys for watching. We are getting after it. I thank you guys, and we will catch you guys on the next one.